we're recording.
Hello.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little tired. I ran 4 miles this morning.
Nice.
Yeah, I did. I had Courtney do. She did 9 rounds. It was 3 minute run, 1 minute walk,
Oh, I would have loved 9 rounds of 4 miles.
and I did. um, and I did that this morning. I did 4 rounds, so it was 40 minutes to make sure I got it 4 miles. But came out a little hot. Came out a little aggressive. Um, paid for it.
Yeah.
Paid for it on the back 3.5 intervals. But it was good. Good running work. Um, Felt good. Got my miles in. So
Good for you.
I think 4 is like my sweet spot right now. If I could just hit 4 in one workout a week, I
Hmm.
think that's good because my strength's still coming back up. So
There you go.
I don't want to. I don't want to start messing around with like 6 or more, and then my strength start to
Yeah,
go down. So,
fair enough.
anywho, we are back for the first podcast in a really long time.
I think the last one was right after quarterfinals, and we had Coach Brady on the episode.
Yeah, that sounds right. Uh, just busy with semis, busy with the camp. Um, so podcast got put on the back burner a little bit. I feel like, as with a lot of the coaching brands, we're not a media company. We're a coaching company. So the podcast is not our number one priority all the time. But I'm glad
But
we're
we're back.
we're back. We're getting back into it. Um, Nothing super groundbreaking today for the first episode back. We want to do a little Q&A episode. We actually asked our coaches to give us questions that they thought would be fun for us to discuss. So kind of an informal one, just going to chat it up, hopefully give some good things from some of these, and then some of them will be a little bit more just kind of fun. Um,
Hmm.
I actually wanted to ask you kind of a fun one just to start.
Perfect.
And so Brady pulled this one for us from a Q&A podcast that Pat Sherwood and Bosman did, but I think it's a good question. What would you be more afraid of doing? A true 20 rep max back squat, or a true 100% effort 800-meter run?
Having done both,
True. I know
okay,
mine.
I will choose an 800-meter run if it was done on a track.
So you're more afraid of that, or you'd rather
No,
do
I'm less afraid. I'd rather
so
do
so
that.
you're more afraid of the 20 rep squat.
100%.
See, I'm way more afraid of the
Let's just
800.
clarify. It is 100% 20 rep max.
Yeah, like you cannot do
Like
21.
you have, yeah, if you get 20, you'll go higher until you don't get 20.
Yeah, like it's like yeah,
Yeah, no.
you would fail the 21st rep.
Yeah, no. I have experience with that event from it's funny, from Wad Gods 2020. Their last event was, I think it was a secret or something, and it was 20 rep max front squat from the ground. And I don't know if it was a hidden event or not, but I remember that like recently to that date or close to that date, I have done 205 and like dabbled with 225. And I went to the competition and I did 185 and I stopped at 14. For some reason, the barbell started slipping. I added more weight and I went for 205. I think I stopped at 7. And at this point, I just started freaking out. I was like, I have 0. And I ended up with a 0. So, yeah, no, I think I'm good with the 800 meters.
I've just done so many max effort runs. I just because like
You
if
gotta
you
also understand that I have a track background. So I used to do that a lot.
I mean so do I. I ran track. I just know like a true max effort 800 like you get 90 seconds in and think you're going to die.
Yes.
Like not even 90 seconds. You get
Like
like a minute in.
we're talking a true 800. We're talking like close to 230.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're talking like a bear is chasing you,
Yes.
like 800 meter, like it's sub 230 or explode
Right.
trying.
It's not like I can repeat that.
Right.
That
No,
would
this
be
is
your
one.
workout.
This is one. Yeah, I want nothing to do with that feeling. I want absolutely nothing to do with that feeling.
I don't know, man. If it's compared to a 20 rep max front squat, that at the end of it, like my legs are shaking and like I got one more rep and I'm not sure if I can get it. No.
I'm either gonna get this or I'm gonna lose all of my meniscuses.
I will get paralyzed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a good
it's a great question.
to kind of
Now,
pontificate on.
now, if that was a 2K row instead of a 400 or 800 meter run, I might start, I might start shooting the squats
I'd
at this point.
I'd be more afraid of the squat then.
You'd row instead?
Yeah,
No,
the two
no.
K the 2K is like long enough and slow and like it's just enough less intensity.
Remember, it's for you're shooting for like six something.
Yeah, yeah. I mm, I do
Mm.
better. Like, dude, if you ask me to do something max effort that's under 3 minutes, I hate it. I just hate it so much.
Yeah,
I will never. I've done a max effort 500 a couple times. I will never ever do that again if there's not money involved. If somebody's not offering money for me to do it, like not even do it in a certain time, just to do it,
yeah.
I will never do a true max effort 500-meter row again. I did a 124.1 and I was on the ground for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with that ever again. But it's short. Like I'd rather do an 800 than that. like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't like short, hard. The longer it goes, the
I will
more
say I'm
inclined I
more
am.
afraid of a 100-meter sprint than an 800-meter sprint.
No, it's too short. Like I can get it over. It's
I I'm
13
afraid
seconds
because
of my life.
I have had, like, if we're talking all out, I have had multiple times where I go into cramps in the middle of it and like I feel like I tore something. I've
Yeah,
popped my hip flexor before,
yeah.
so I'm like, it's not worth it unless there's money on the line.
And 800 to me is the most disgusting, one of the most disgusting running events
That
for me.
used to be my distance.
It was Kelly's too,
Yeah.
because it
No,
like
that's
so
why
I
like I'm so like I guess like I'm adapted to or immune to it because
I'm
I've
just
done it.
used to it.
Yeah, that is why I started getting on the like I got accepted into the running team because there was like a friendly competition and there was an 800-meter race. Never done it before and I got second and they're just like, okay, you're in.
I did the 400 and the 4x4 when I ran track,
Ooh,
and
relay.
yeah,
I
and
I've always wanted to do relay. I just never was picked for it.
I was our 800-meter runners on the track team in high school. I was genuinely confused by them because I was like, you're running a 400 like 3 seconds slower than me, but you do it again.
Yeah,
Like I don't understand that. Like I
yeah,
can't compute. 800-meter runners are disgusting.
true. Um, all right, my turn.
Your turn.
That is also a fun question.
What's up?
If you were to have dinner with anyone in history, who would it be and why? Also picked by Coach Brady, by the way.
Are we like? Is this just anybody?
Do you want to make it narrow? Let's limit down. Let's talk it in the athletes
In
sports
like the
field.
fitness space? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm, that's really hard, actually. Um, can I give a couple? Like, I haven't really
Okay, you're allowed two people.
two people. Probably Charles Poliquin and Tudor Bomba, I think is his name.
Can you explain to the audience who they are?
Is his first name Tudor Bomba? Is it Tudor Bomba? The
I
Russian? I
think
can't remember
so.
his name. I think it's Tudor Bomba. I know his last name is Bomba.
Yeah, Bompa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Charles Poliquin, Canadian, I believe, originally.
Mhm.
Just a titan in the strength conditioning fitness field. Um, Inventor of the Poliquin step up, like just huge contributor. Had a very good understanding of biomechanics, sport demands, all of that stuff. So it'd just be super cool to chat him up. Gone way too early. It's really unfortunate. And then Bompa is one of the reasons that American strength and conditioning came out of the dark ages when he came from Russia and started, teaching us and showing us things and all that stuff. So it'd be really cool to pick his brain. So I think probably those two. Um, I mean, there's a lot of people I'd like to have conversations with, but they're pretty high. They're probably on my Mount Rushmore of
Gotcha.
people. What about you?
I have more of a me being a fan of an athlete. I don't think you'll know him. He was an Egyptian soccer player.
Okay.
His name was Mohammed Abu Trika. He was one of the most like inspiring, humble, polite role models when it came to soccer at the time, and unfortunately, he stopped soccer too early. He just decided he's done, and right now he's more like a data analyst in Emirates, I think,
Okay.
UAE.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, he's probably my favorite like Egyptian athlete.
I feel like that's a hard question because there's so many
Yeah, I feel like
athletes,
the more you think about
coaches.
it, the more you have answers.
Well, it's you're trying to like rank order these people,
You're right.
right? So it's difficult because some of them, like, there's a lot of people, industry leaders now that I'd love to have conversations with, but they're kind of
Yeah,
around, right? Versus Poliquin, he's passed on.
right.
Pretty sure Tudor Bomba's not around anymore either. He is. He's very old. Um,
I think he's alive.
is he?
He's 92 years old.
Very old. I rest my case.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Tips for training in the heat and how to recover for multiple pieces in one session.
Come to Houston.
Get heat acclimated. Come to Houston.
Absolutely. One, if you are moving from a low heat to a high heat environment, or summer has just rolled around, and you're expecting yourself to perform the exact same, I hate to break it to you, it's not gonna happen.
Not a
So there
chance.
is a heat acclimatization phase that your body needs to go through, and for that you need to be aware of your body's needs and body's feedback, because everybody will react differently. You need to make sure that you're fueling your body a lot better. I'm not gonna say more, because just better, more efficient food, more water content in your food. So like if we're talking like fruits and vegetables, we're talking about like watermelon, peaches, stuff like that. Just has more fluid in it.
I think
Uh,
nutrient timing starts to become maybe a little more important.
right. Like if you're fasting, or you're not really aware of when you're eating and just go to work out and you're not fueled, you'll feel that exponentially more than in the winter or in cooler areas.
Yeah.
Um, Water intake, I can't emphasize that enough.
Electrolytes,
Electrolyte
obviously.
intake, yeah, like those are not, and then like methods to keep your heart rate from spiking and methods to cool yourself down after the workout as well. So like
Yeah.
always have like some sort of a cooler or towel or something like that that you can kind of wash your face with after, or like keep it around. Drying yourself as you're working out. Minimal clothing. You don't need to be working out in
Joggers.
let's say long sleeves.
I think
um,
uh, something I've used a little bit with Kelly in the past, and Courtney uses it semi regularly because we have it here at the house. Is the Palmer cooling devices. I know those were popularized by Huberman probably a year ish ago, and some people kind of took off with it. There's some good studies on that since we do expel heat from our extremities, and holding something really cold can kind of pull the heat out of you a little bit and cool you off. It's probably not moving the needle in some kind of a crazy way, but it does help cool you off, makes you feel a little bit more cool.
Mhm.
Cold water on the back of the neck, things like that. I think understanding how hot it is where you are and trying not to train in that heat,
Yeah, timing of training too.
like it's just, and if you do have to train at a time when it is very hot, like all of these modalities aside, the the research is 100% crystal clear. Your body is going to work harder than usual to cool you off, and it is going to limit your output, and there is nothing you can do about it to a
Hmm.
point. Like you will never be able to do enough cooling modalities to pull your internal temperature down to what it would be able to do if it was 80 degrees outside when it's 105. You just can't. So
Right.
like you're still getting fitter, right?
Right.
Like but you just have to approach longer workouts a little differently, intervals a little differently, and like you were saying, paying attention to how you feel, how hot you are. Also,
And there is an
don't push
adaptation
yourself.
curve.
Yeah, yeah, for
So like
sure.
it will get better as you go through it, and you do it gradually and not to the point where you shock your system that it goes into like injury.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get a little. Also, it's just you get mentally more comfortable with the heat.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously, yes, be aware, not to get a heat injury because that can set you back quite a bit if you do
Mm.
start to approach heat stroke or something like that. Um, it's just kind of part of it. I mean, we live in Houston. I've said this before. I think living in Houston in the summer, I think, is a net negative to training because your
Mhm.
output is just limited for so many months. Um, but you're still getting fitter, right? I think it's just on the athlete and the coach to be a little more judicious on when you train, when you do long pieces. Um, can you get some of the desired stimulus you're looking for without going so long? Um, things like that. Just part of it, though.
Yeah. Um. All right.
What
My
you got?
question for you is, if you were to choose two athletes as wild cards in the CrossFit Games, which sport would you choose them from?
Mm. Are we gonna go like male sport, female sport, like predominant?
Sure. Sure. Let's pick one male, one female.
Difficult. I have always been a little partial on the men's side. I think if you have a wrestling background,
Mhm.
um, you come into CrossFit with a good starting point for your fitness. Also, your body awareness and your strength's probably pretty okay. So I would probably pick a male collegiate wrestler
Mhm.
or Olympic trials level wrestler, just because they also have something that is very important in CrossFit, and that's just they're tough as nails.
Mhm.
Women's side is a little harder. Um, I feel like the popular answer on this is going to be a women's gymnast, but
Yeah.
I think I'd probably go with like a woman's collegiate soccer player, maybe, or mid distance track athlete, something around there. Obviously, the soccer player, not the goalie. Um,
Hmm.
maybe a striker or
Or Wing.
A wing, yeah. I think, yeah, probably one of those two would be my. That's where I would kind of hedge my hedge my bet. They're probably going to get clapped in a strength event, but they've got fitness. So if they can move the moderate and lighter weights, um, and obviously looking at games of the past, there was a lot of emphasis on running. We don't know what the games will be this year with that, just with the new venue, but I
Right.
think it's I think it's a little harder with the women's field or the women's sport backgrounds to pick. What about you?
I would probably pick for the males. I'll pick lightweight Olympic weightlifting.
Really?
Yeah, if
They have
you're
no
a
cardio.
small guy and you have the capacity to lift close to 400 pounds, or let's say 300 pounds,
I mean, 350. Yeah.
yeah, your skills are going to be easier to learn.
They're just gonna be so out of breath. I
But
I listen to this as if we were like dropping them in the CrossFit games as is, not training
I
them.
don't,
We're just like,
yeah.
oh,
Um, yeah, well, I guess if we're not training them, that changes things a little bit.
yeah, like
I
this is a wild card to just go.
Then I would probably pick a sprinter, a male sprinter.
It's not a bad, but like what distance? Like 100 meter or
No
like a
more,
eight?
no more than 400.
Really? Oh.
Like I would love to see a smaller version of Usain Bolt in the games. He's just his dimensionally not going to do well in this sport.
No,
No,
no.
but
What is he?
like
6'4"?
I have no,
He's tall.
maybe even taller.
He's tall.
Uh,
I mean, he's
for
an
the
outlier even in sprinters.
yeah, uh, for for the women's, he's 6'5". For the women's, I would say I would agree with soccer or a swimmer.
Swimmer. Good call. Good call.
In my background, those two categories, especially in women, tend to excel at CrossFit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, swimming is just so good, right? Like,
It would also depend on like your event in swimming and how far and all that, but I feel like mid
yeah.
distance would probably be mid distance freestyle or dolphin, butterfly. Sorry, butterfly.
Yeah. I think if you have a swimming background, it's a big hack aerobically. All right. Would you rather do a workout that is task priority or time priority?
Oh, don't ask me now. I'm not fit now.
I'm just no, just
Right now, I'll always pick task because, or time, sorry, because I'll just do 13 minutes of whatever.
see, and I'd rather do task priority.
I would definitely do task priority back in my fitter days,
I
and maybe in
just
the future in my fitter days as well. Right
I used
now,
to not
it's
care.
um at some point when like again I was going at a higher level of fitness, more competitively, I was like, all right, whatever. The workout says 13 minutes or it says 3 rounds for time. But the busier, all that, I just started like, you know what? It's as hard as you make it.
Yeah, I mean, time priority is nice because the clock will save you, right?
Yeah.
Um, I definitely will say, just doing the class workouts at the affiliate. If it's task priority, I've been a little bit more fuck it, and I'll just go do it.
Hmm.
Um, if it's time priority, I'm like, all right, I don't want to be in purgatory for 8 minutes of this. So I need to mind my P's and Q's in the beginning
Yeah.
so I don't put myself in a super bad way. That being said, we also haven't had a task priority workout that's been really long either in a while.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you I think the longest one that we had recently was one of those running and snatch ones.
You missed
And
the days.
What was today's? Oh, the 4th of July
1776.
workout. I ran 4 miles. We'll call it even.
I don't know. Time cap was 50 minutes.
I'm good. I'm okay.
All right. My turn.
Yep.
What new movement should CrossFit introduce to the open and the game? Let's just say open. What new movement should CrossFit introduce to the open?
None.
Stop it. Stop it. I'm okay with CrossFit crossover single unders.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
And or triple unders.
In the open,
I've been waiting for it since 2015. It's not showing up.
dog. I would be okay with any integration of any new machine at this point.
Yeah.
I understand the logistical constraints they take into account for the global community with that, but for our situation and the way our athletes train, I would be perfectly fine with seeing an echo bike, a ski, a biker. I would be like, okay, no big deal. It would also be nice to test monostructural, cyclical, kind of cardiac fitness in a slightly different way than just the rower or shuttle runs or burpees.
Mhm.
That's probably it. There's a lot of good movements. Uh, oh, dumbbell bench press, baby. Hell yeah, I'd be good with
What
that.
would be your standard?
Top, bottom, top again, just like
Touch. The dumbbell has to
yes,
touch
yeah.
your chest.
Dumbbell head has to touch the torso somewhere.
Yeah. Hips stay on the hips, head and feet stay down.
Yeah, I think hips staying on the bench is a fine. It's a good standard, and the
Yeah.
dumbbells wouldn't be heavy enough that people should be like ah. So feet flat
Oh,
on the floor, hips
yeah.
on the bench. I'd be cool with that. I
Yeah.
mean, have we done like a double dumbbell shouldered overhead? We've done thrusters with the dumbbells. I don't think we've done just a push press
Have we done clean and jerks?
with the dumbbells. Single,
Yeah, but
single
not double,
hang,
right?
and we've done double clean. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I mean, that would be disgusting, but I'd be fine with that if they let you go sumo stance and put the
Yeah,
dumbbells between your legs. I
gotcha.
do not like the standard with double dumbbell movements going to the floor that you have to keep them on the outside because it so easily lends for people to put their back in absolutely awful positions.
Hmm.
And you can keep your back in a better position if you go between your legs. And you're moving the load the same distance. It doesn't change
Yeah,
anything. So
yeah.
okay, other than triple unders, what's yours?
Uh, we haven't seen rope climbs. I know for the global constraint, but
I mean, obviously I'd love that. but
yeah,
I mean, I I have a big thing with rope climbs, and if this podcast was a lot more popular, or I ever say this on a different, more reach podcast, get a lot of pushback. But I think the community is super soft in terms of rope climbs.
why do you say that?
Even going into quarterfinals this year, a lot of analysts, pundits, whatever you want to call them, were, man, we don't need to have rope climbs in quarterfinals, da 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 da, this, that, and the other. And I think 2 days after I heard that on a podcast, the CrossFit main site workout was 30 rope climbs for 10.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So I'm a big fan of rope climbs and high volume rope climbs because if you do rope climbs enough and you get to a point, which is, virtuosity in the movement, it's almost a monostructural movement.
Yeah.
It's almost just a cardiorespiratory test, depending on what you're pairing it with. Like, obviously, there's some grip, obviously, there's some pulling. But I mean, we talked about
Midline.
this the other day.
Mhm.
Yeah, midline. But I think it's a wonderful movement. I think it's super functional.
Hmm.
Um, yes, I have a personal bias. I enjoy them, but I think as a community as a whole, we're soft with rope climbs. Everybody just you program 9 rope climbs in a workout, and people are like, "Oh my god, that's so many rope climbs!" And according to main site, it's not.
Yeah.
So don't get mad at me, right? It's like when we program double unders and program 500 double unders in a workout, and people freak out. Well, if you look back in 2018, we had an open workout with 800.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what you want from me, right? All right, it's my turn.
Yes.
Ooh, what do we got here? What do we got here? What do we got here? This is a good one. If you could go back and learn a skill while you were young, what would it be and how would it benefit you today?
A skill that I have now.
Doesn't say.
Huh.
Just says a skill. So it could be a skill you have, a skill you would like to have.
I mean, probably pistols. Um, I was able to at a young age. I was doing a lot of air squats, just not even knowing what I was doing. But I
Mm-hmm.
never was strong enough. It was basically just compensation on both hips. So I would like to build my strength there to be able to do a pistol at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
Given that now I'm kind of allergic to pistols.
You and me both, brother.
It's a movement that I will not do unless I really have to, and it takes me like 20 minutes to warm up for it.
Pistols are a movement I will probably not do unless
Yeah.
I get pigeonholed into a situation where I have to. But I do not like them.
But like if we're talking a little bit more general, then I would like to have started strength training in general at a younger age.
Yeah.
I did not start strength training until I started CrossFit, which was at the age of like 21.
Mm-hmm.
So something
Yeah.
that limits me massively.
Sure. I think physical skill wise, I would have liked to just get more exposure moving my body weight through space. Um,
So do gymnastics.
yeah, gymnastics. Or if I was just even one of those kids who was a little more predispositioned to jumping, flipping, and got more into those things. I was not super athletic as a kid in terms of body awareness, complex movements. I was always super clumsy, those things. So I think that would have benefited me a good bit. Like I had to work really hard to develop the gymnastic skills. Um, and just introspectively looking at myself, even now, my ability to do gymnastics is very like the movements,
Hmm.
right? I don't have a level of body awareness to where I can
Attempt to do a backflip.
express, yeah, like not mastery, but express creativity and fluidity. I'm
Hmm.
like, it's very hard for me to develop that stuff just from a body awareness perspective. So I would have liked to dabble in that a little bit more when I was younger. I think it's a good base to set people up with. Um, so, but it's all good. I got a hell of a cardio base from soccer, so whatever.
Yeah,
Take what you can get, I guess.
absolutely.
What else
All
you
right,
got?
I got a question that people tend to answer. There's only one right answer, and people tend to answer it wrong.
Okay.
Snatch or clean and jerk?
um. So disclaimer: I don't squat snatch heavy anymore. I was squat snatching metcons, moderate to lightweights, and I power snatch every week. That being said, as I got more comfortable snatching, I enjoy and thoroughly enjoyed the act of training the snatch.
Thank you.
The reason for that is training the clean and jerk is fucking exhausting. It is like 6x2 squat snatch at 75, 80% is tiring, but there's just it's more mental acuity involved and trying to really get this movement down that I struggled with for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
6x2 clean and jerk at 75 or 80%, I'm going to war. Like every rep is going to be hard.
Gonna
Every
bruise
rep
my
has to be
legs.
technical.
I'm going to feel like my legs
Um,
are building blocks.
and I mean, you know this, I'm not a squatty person.
Yeah.
Like squatting has never been my strongest movement pattern. Now, if you'd have asked me that when I first started CrossFit, it would have been clean and jerk all day because I would have just cranked up the music and went to town
Went. Yeah.
instead of being frustrated that my snatches sucked, right?
Right.
But I generally would say snatch. I enjoy training the snatch.
I agree.
There's just I don't think there's a better feeling. Kind of piggying off of this, I don't think there's a better feeling than PRing a snatch.
Or getting a really clean snatch.
Yeah.
Like hitting a heavy, perfect snatch is so rewarding. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's just like, oh, now I want to snatch.
I think that clean and jerk has a lot of value in the sense of teaching athletes, though. You got to be tough.
Yeah.
Like you can not be perfect and make a heavy clean and jerk,
You gotta get under that bar.
but you got to be tough, right? It's a better
More of a leap of
lift
faith.
it's a better lift to teach controlled aggression.
Yeah.
Right. Versus the snatch, like if it's off, it's off. You're just gonna
Right.
miss most of the time. Right.
Too many factors.
So I think there's a lot of value in heavy cleans, heavy clean and jerk. Like you got to check in, you got to be tough, more so than you do if you're just training the snatch.
That's true.
I like this train of thought: row, run, ski.
You know my answer already.
All right, so you can't run. Pick a machine.
No, come on.
Pick a machine. You can't run. So for those who don't know, Mahmood's a fucking track star.
No, I'm not. I just prefer to run than be on any machine.
So Echo bike, rower, skier. I'm gonna
That's
take out
going
the
to
C2
be.
bike because it's so easy.
You can keep it in, and it's still not going to be the C2 bike. I will pick the Echo bike,
Really?
and that is surprising. But there's just something about it. Like I've been using it a lot more. I've been training it a lot more, and I feel more. Or I'm not gonna say comfortable. I'll feel less intimidated by it compared to all the other machines, including the C2 bike and the assault bike. I feel more calm. I feel more in control, and I also feel the rest of the field suffer. I don't know if that's
Sure.
part of it. Like people
Yeah.
hate it so much that I feel like, okay, I'll like it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, it's surprising. It used to be a rower, but it's just I got frustrated with a rower. I hit a wall on progress, and I was like, at this point, I think it's more like you need to be tolerant to more pain. So
I mean, with all the machines, there's an aspect of, I mean, even
pain,
running, right?
right?
Like,
Pain acceptance.
yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. What about you?
This is hard because I've had a very up down relationship with my fitness and feeling on the machines in the last 5, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a toss up. So I will disclaimer. I love the ski rig, but I think for what the expectation on ski erg ability is in CrossFit, I would probably pick the rower.
So you just if there's a test, you'll do better at a rower compared to the relative field.
It's I know what I mean is the expectation of your ability to perform on the machine is much higher on a rower,
Hmm.
right? Versus a ski erg. I love the ski erg as a training tool,
Okay.
but I think I've recently started rowing a lot more, and I want to get my rowing back to a place where I am somewhat happy with it. And much like the bike, I I value the immediate and honest feedback from that monitor.
Hmm.
Every stroke, where's your pace? And can you deal with that feedback, good or bad? Like the mental act of rowing is challenging for some people.
Hmm.
So I think it's a really good machine for that. I am not a, I mean, you know this. I don't love the bikes.
Yeah.
I'm fine on them for my fitness level. Like I don't, it's not a weakness for me. Um, but I've gotten a little bit partial to rowing again. Um,
That's fair.
I feel the last couple of rowing workouts that I've done as well. I feel I'm getting that accomplished feeling
Hmm.
after it. Um, versus most of the time I do a pure echo bike conditioning piece or something of that nature. I just want to die.
Hmm.
I mean, I think the last pure echo bike workout I did was like 2 weeks ago at the gym when I tried to unalive myself with the 20 cal sprints,
Yeah.
which was great for my fitness. But I was not a person for 20 minutes after that, and
Yeah.
don't love that feeling. So,
That's fair.
all right, you got last question.
All right. In training, what do you get more excited about for strength? Front squats, back squats.
Oh, front squats entirely, 100%.
Okay, explain yourself because that's gonna stand out for most people.
Uh, I just have a lot of psychological injury history with the back squat.
Okay.
So more often than not, when I go into a back squat session, I'm just so much more mindful of like my P's and Q's, my movement pattern, trying to make sure I do everything right. How's my back feel today? Da 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 da. Those things. Versus a front squat, just because it's not direct, it's front loaded. It's not directly on my spine. I tend to feel better on average, so I can just kind of cut loose more and get after it. Versus being like, oh shit, like how's my back feel today? Da 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 da. This and the
Yeah.
other.
Going through a checklist of technique.
Now I tell you, if you rewind the clock to Tristan circa 2017, back squat. Like
Yeah.
there was, I was sick with back squatting. Like I liked doing sets of back squats that were so hard, like my arms went numb. Like I loved the feeling of pushing the back squat to a place that was nonsensical sometimes.
That's
Um,
fair.
but that's not me anymore. So,
That's why we're asking.
what about you, back squat?
I like front squats more. They're harder, but I do like them more. And I think the problem is actually in my cleans, but like for how close my front squat to my back squat is, it doesn't make sense for most people. And
Mm,
then at the same time, from how far my front squat to my clean doesn't make sense. So I
gotcha.
can front squat a lot more than I can clean, which probably say that my deadlift is not very good.
Rear pull, yeah,
Yeah.
makes
But
sense.
yeah, no, I like I don't dislike back squats. I don't love overhead squat for strengths.
I hate overhead squat because I'm built like a fucking tree, and my overhead strength has never been a strong suit for me.
Yeah.
Um, I did at one
I'm not
point,
saying they don't work. I did them and they got stronger and it works.
100%.
I just don't love how it feels.
I think that's a pretty common thing. I don't know many athletes who can do overhead squats for a strength stimulus and don't say something about their elbows or wrists afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a wide array of athletes, good mobility, bad mobility.
Yeah.
Um, I will say one of the things I am proud of myself for doing when I was training very hard and competing was I did 15 body weight overhead squats, which was that's the OG standard. 15 body weight squats, overhead squats at body weight.
I wonder if I can do that.
I definitely cannot do that now, just from a skill perspective. I'm probably strong enough. I just haven't been overhead squatting heavy enough frequently. But yeah, I did 17 overhead squats at 205 one time. Took me
I know I can't
forever.
do that, but with 160, I think I have a chance.
You could probably do 15 at 160.
Maybe.
You got a pretty good overhead squat.
I'll just have to continue. We're doing snatch balances now at the gym, so
Yeah.
just getting back into the groove of overhead squats and stuff. So maybe soon.
Maybe we'll have to program that for the gym.
Yeah, I don't know if people will like that.
Just program it as max reps at body weight and just
program it as the Metcon.
I mean, kinda. I just even thinking back when I did that, I just remember finishing that and my wrists just hurt.
Yeah, I mean that will physiologically happen.
And my wrists have never hurt on any other movement.
No,
especially during that time. Especially during that time, because I was doing a lot more mobility and stuff. Like now, if I do front squats, a bunch of reps or whatever, I'll probably feel my wrists a little bit because I'm just tighter than I used to be because I sit. But yeah, I did those overhead squats and I was just cut my hands off.
Here you go.
It was terrible. All right, my man. Well, thank you for jumping on with me today.
Of course.
We'll get this
out
there.
We'll be back on the regular.
Yes. At least until the games, and then no promises. No promises.
Yeah, we're playing who goes where this year.
Yeah.
It's a fun game.
Housekeeping stuff. I don't think we have a ton of housekeeping stuff. Ascend Athlete on Instagram.
Keep an eye on the merchandise coming soon.
Ascend Athlete on Sugarwod, Ascend Athlete on Fitter for your one-on-one coaching needs. If you want to have some guidance going into the next season.
Yep.
Other than that,
I know that I've said now is the time 3 months ago, but it's better late than never.
It's still the time.
Yeah.
So, all right, brother. Well, have a great rest of your 4th of July. Happy America Day.
Happy America Day.
All right, buddy.
All right. Bye.